Estranged is a Meng Shi novel. This is an audiobook made by fans for other fans. Disclaimer. The main couple of the story is made up of two men. If you don't like it, don't listen. Thank you. Remember, subscribe and click the bell to stay updated on all the new releases. Enjoy. Chapter 18. If you lose, you will owe me a favor. Ch18 also thought that the dark nights here were exceptionally long. But this was just a common occurrence in the 9 layers of the abyss. In this confusing, chaotic world where humans and demons were mixed, anything could happen. Although they didn't know where the 7-star platform was, cultivators gradually started moving in one direction, so following them could solve this problem. By the time the 3 of them had reached their destination, the platform was already bustling with noise and excitement. The high platform had 7 sections. All the cultivators gathered on the marble platform in the middle, the residence of the owner of 7-star rivers, that also happened to be the place where Beishu held the banquet. Ch18 thought him to be a man without many followers who suddenly took over the high position and wouldn't receive much support, but, when they arrived at the 7-star platform, she realized that he had a lot of cultivators under his authority, occupying all the space around the platform. They were looking at the newcomers like a tiger on guard, ready to pounce on its prey. Cultivators were arriving one by one, and many of them went straight to Beishu, who was sitting on the high platform, to pay their respects. That was not at all in line with Ch18's expectations. No one was trying to pick a fight. A number of graceful women were even dancing on stones in the water, thousands of lanterns were rising to the sky, and white trees were blooming. 7-star rivers, that was full of ceaseless confused fights just a while ago, was now like a dazzling town of the human realm, filled with luxury and gold. Ch18 thought it was a bit strange. Beishu proclaimed himself the owner of 7-star rivers with such ease. Don't tell me no one will challenge him. Those who were busy killing and looting just a moment ago, people who thought the weak shall stand as a prey of the strong, all admitted Beishu's position one by one. In her opinion, it happened too fast, as the Jiangxia clan's internal struggles never ended this smooth and fast. Beishu has been in 7-star rivers for a long time, and has gathered lots of allies. Even if Su Fenglin hadn't intruded 7-star rivers and killed Bo Ye all of a sudden, he would have attacked Bo Ye anyway, because he had conflicts with him. An unfamiliar voice sounded, and Ch18 turned her head to see a person who came near them and answered her question. Ch18 and the other 2 were looking at him, so this person cupped his hands in greeting when he had finished speaking. Bo Ye's death started a turmoil in 7-star rivers. If Beishu wanted to take the high position, he needed to kill Bo Ye's most powerful general Tai Luo in front of everyone to gain authority. Tai Luo is a famous master in 7-star rivers. Now that he is dead, others won't dare to stand out. Those who covet the position of the owner of 7-star rivers should first consider whether they are at least as powerful as Tai Luo. Moreover, everyone wants to know what secrets Beishu had learned about 7-star rivers. I am Ch18, a disciple of the Wanjian Immortal Sect, very pleased to meet you. May I know how I should address you? The Wanjian Immortal Sect was a famous big clan, but the larger a sect was, the more its disciples looked down on demonic sects that used underhanded methods like the Jiangxia clan. Just like profound and famous families look down on poor families with no history that rose to power overnight. But Ch18 hurried to give a sweet self-introduction anyway. This girl is Ch18, a disciple of the Jiangxia clan. It's hard to find someone as handsome as Chen in the whole Jiangxia clan. When Chen-ting heard these 2 words, Jiangxia clan, the corners of his mouth twitched. It seemed that he now regretted his decision to come over and start a conversation with them. but he forced a weak smile and continued talking. Thank you very much for your praise, Daiosu. I've heard a lot about the Jiangxia clan. Daiosu is very elegant. He looked at Changming and Yunhai, slightly hesitant. Are you both from the Jiangxia clan as well? Changming, a rogue cultivator. Yunhai smiled happily, me too. Changming, what too, are you Changming too? But Ch18 didn't ask this question, deciding to himself that they were all demonic cultivators from the Jiangxia clan faction. Had this happened outside, in the human realm, it would be strange for them to meet somewhere other than the battlefield, because people who walk different paths cannot make plans together, but in the 9 layers of the abyss the rules were different, and these people from the Jiangxia clan were still at least humans, unlike those half-demons and evil spirits. Creatures of other races might have different mindsets, but they are still people. This thought made Ch18 feel that Su Jingxian and the other two were very pleasing to the eye. Su Jingxian, Daiochen said there are secrets in 7-star rivers. Although Ch18 held evil women like her in contempt, people naturally love beauty, and, after taking a look at her, he couldn't help but answer right away, right. It is said that a powerful spiritual weapon with consciousness is hidden under the 7-star platform, and that it has something to do with the purple flames in the sky above the sacred mountain Wan. The key to the dungeon used to be in Bo Ye's hands. After his death, the key should have been with Tai Luo. Bei Shu killed him, so it's very possible that he has it now. Everyone is watching from the sidelines. Su Jingxian, Bei Shu was driven out from the Qingyu school, yet unexpectedly managed to find so many followers and rise to power here, standing up to Tai Luo as an equal. This is really unusual. Ch18, I have some history with this man. I have seen his ways and heard his words. He really is an ambitious and ruthless character in these troubled times. However, the strongest is respected in the 9 layers of the abyss. Today he might be the owner of 7-star rivers, but tomorrow it can change. Bo Ye occupied the position for about 7 or 8 years, and met such an end. When Bei Shu invited everyone to come here today, he must have understood our true intentions. Su Jingxian put on a show of surprise, then aren't we entering his trap willingly? You frighten me to death, I won't be able to eat or drink at the banquet later. Ch18 laughed, suddenly feeling that this evil beauty from the Jiangxia clan was a bit cute. Don't worry about that. Bei Shu has already taken the high position, so he will try to win over people's hearts, and won't resort to such cheap underhanded methods. I reckon that he will give away these scriptures and belongings of Bo Ye and Tai Luo that he has gathered. If you catch his eyes, who knows, maybe you will receive a high-grade weapon. Su Jingxian knew he was disgusted with demonic methods, but that only made her behave even more unnaturally. Then, if he gets interested in my good looks, must I give myself to him in exchange for a high-grade weapon? Ah, what a plight. Yunhai paid no attention to Ch18 who was chatting with Su Jingxian. He was looking at Changming. The latter was watching Bei Shu. At that time, Bei Shu was full of high spirits, looking down at the people from the 7-star platform. Even though he knew that all these cultivators in front of him harbored concealed intentions, that didn't prevent him from feeling that the whole situation was under his control. He was quite eye-catching, yet Changming wasn't looking at him. Who is that person next to Bei Shu? Yun Weisai asked about the person Changming was looking at. Changming said, I've met him once, and we went through some adventures together. But I thought he died later, because those who enter that place rarely come out alive, and with his skills it would be extremely hard to survive. But now, not only do I meet him unscratched, but he has even raised his cultivation level. What do you think could be the reason? Yunhai muttered irresolutely, there are two possibilities. The first being that you are seeing an illusion, but that's impossible since I see it as well. The second is that he got lucky in that place you mentioned, and his cultivation has been advancing by leaps and bounds ever since. You said that you believed he wouldn't be able to get out of that place, so I suppose something must have happened to him there. Changming hummed. Although Zhongmu made a scapegoat of him back then, Zhongmu's companions, excluding Heziun, should have been left behind in the Yellow Springs and be completely devoured by those demons and wandering spirits, leaving no remnants. Yet all of a sudden he meets Zhongmu here again. When the person who stood in that corner just now helped Beishu by throwing a long spear, Changming thought that his technique seemed somewhat familiar. Now that he saw a capable Zhongmu next to Beishu, his guess was finally confirmed. Zhongmu didn't die. Not only didn't he die, but he had even come out of the Yellow Springs and entered the 9 layers of the abyss, gaining Beishu's trust at that. All these fragments started to form a picture, weird and vague, odd and mysterious. The Zhongmu from the Yellow Springs, the Zhongmu in front of his eyes. The Xiaoyun from the Ch18 sect, the Yunhai next to him. There seemed to be a thread, imperceptible by his senses, that was pulling him forwards. Changming didn't enjoy being controlled, but he followed this thread to find the one pulling it. There is another possibility, Yunhai said slowly. Before he could finish speaking, Changming walked towards Beishu. Yunhai was stunned but immediately followed him. A long staircase separated them from Beishu. This high staircase showed the difference in their status, but that didn't stop cultivators from going up to congratulate Beishu in an endless stream. Changming and Yunhai went up slowly with the crowd. Zhongmu finished whispering something into Beishu's ear. The latter nodded, and Zhongmu followed his order and went down to greet Changming. Daoxiang Zhongmu, I never expected to stumble upon you here. Changming seemed pleasantly surprised. Zhongmu stopped and raised his head to look at him. And you are? Changming, in the past, outside the Yunhai Tower, you saw injustice and gave a helping hand, which allowed me to save my face in front of my fellow disciples. I am still very grateful to you. Didn't expect to meet you here today. Zhongmu nodded half-heartedly, no need to be so polite. I have to go now, we will discuss it again afterwards. Then, many thanks for your hospitality, I will express my gratitude later. Changming cupped his hands politely, overflowing with exaggerated praises, while being deeply in thought. He was only probing Zhongmu with these words. There was no Yunhai Tower, even more so fellow disciples. Zhongmu either had an amnesia, or wasn't Zhongmu at all. More than half of the banquet had passed. Just as Chanting had said, Beishu was never going to serve them dishes or drinks, but ordered people to bring out weapons and tools, letting everyone present choose one. These magic weapons were looted from the defeated by the masters in 7-star rivers over the years. They could not be called precious or rare, but there were still some high-quality treasures. Even if they knew Beishu was only trying to buy people's hearts, looking at all the weapons they could take for free, everyone present was tempted to choose one, and they came forward one after another. Some of them almost started fighting because they were interested in the same treasure. Of course, when they got what they desired, they were overjoyed, and, returning the favor, congratulated Beishu for fulfilling his wish and becoming the new owner of 7-star rivers. At this point, fires lit the sky, and the earth was flourishing, making people subconsciously think of this place as an imperial palace in the human realm, not another world. Changming and Yunhai didn't rush forward to choose treasures, and were looking on the crowd coldly as bystanders. How long do you think Beishu will last in the position of the owner of 7-star rivers? Yunhai asked. As I see it, no one but you, Daiyu Yunhai, can challenge Beishu, so, unless Su Fenglan returns, he should be able to last for at least 3 days. But Su Fenglan already went to the second layer of the abyss, so he's probably not interested in the position of the owner of the first layer. Yunhai laughed, then let's bet on how long he will last. I won't do anything, but he won't stay alive for 3 days. Changming, do you want to kill him? Yunhai, I don't even know him, and I won't harm him. Changming, what are the stakes? Yunhai, if you win, I will give you a spiritual weapon that has gained consciousness as a present. Changming, things from this world rarely deserve my attention. His expression was a bit tired, his manner of speech indifferent, but his words were arrogant, ones of the if I can't do something, no one can kind. But Yunhai didn't show amusement or ridicule on his face, and only said with confidence, this thing definitely deserves your attention. Changming's heart skipped a beat, and he turned his head to Yunhai. Just as expected, Yunhai laughed, the Sci-Fei sword. Changming said to himself, you took my own thing, and now you want to give it to me as a present? Yunhai, this sword belonged to the first master under heaven in the past, Zhufang Changming, who happened to share your name, Daoxian Changming. It is called giving the sword to the hero. If you two are so fated, who knows, maybe you will be able to control the sword. Changming was pondering over one thing. It was that, while Zhou Qi has changed a lot, there was still something left from his past self for Changming to use, but what on earth happened with his stubborn and rigorous first disciple that made him such a person? Everything was just fine while he was silent. But after he opened his mouth, he was glowing with delight, as if his hands were ready to dance, his feet to trip, and his hair to flutter in the air. His words were frivolous and wanton, he was teasing people in every second sentence, and was deliberately speaking ambiguously all the time, even threatening his Shizan. If he had already forgotten about Changming, why did Yunhai come to meet him willingly? Yunhai suddenly raised his hand and covered Changming's eyes. Daiyu, don't look at me this way. Even if you admire me with all your heart, I ask you to hide this feeling. You should remember that the falling flowers are yearning for love, but the heartless brook ripples on. Don't make a wrong decision in a moment of weakness, since it can lead to fatal mistakes. Then what if you win? He didn't push away the other's hand. Yunhai laughed, if I win, you will owe me a favor. End of the chapter. Stay tuned for more BL.